I've been thinking about something for a while about people who do social work or political work, people who get involved with saving the environment, any kind of work where it's an effort to improve the world. And thinking about past times that I've done that, and then talking to people, particularly in Spokane or Coeur d'Alene, who are doing those kind of things. And thinking about ways that Buddhism and the Buddhist method can help when we're doing that kind of work. I did that kind of work for a long, long time, and as I look back, I see a couple of places I was quite stuck, and had I had the Buddhist psychology, the Buddhist philosophy, I think it would have gone much better and been much more effective, and I would have been much more happy. So I wanted to share two helpful ideas, because I know a lot of you do these kind of helpful things in society, and those who aren't, primarily engaged want to get engaged, but maybe kind of stand back because looking at sometimes the anger that rises or the big egos that rise up. So in thinking about this, I thought of two ideas. One comes from Genlam Rinpa out of his book called Calming the Mind. And it's really a book about developing shamatha, but in that book, in a place where he's talking about motivation, about generating bodhicitta, he talks, someone asks him a question about, well, what about, like a doctor, don't they just help people? So isn't that sufficient, And he put out this phrase called self-satisfaction, and it really captured me, because he says in essence, not in these words, but this is the meaning I gleaned from it, that if we're doing this kind of work mainly for our self-satisfaction, then that of course is going to limit it. And that we really need to open that up and focus on the other in the bodhicitta way. And that's not an easy thing to do. And it doesn't mean that the self-satisfaction doesn't come or isn't okay, but it really needs to not be the main motivation. And as I look back, I see for myself that was, of course, one of the main things. I wanted to save the world. It felt better if I was saving the world. There was a big I saving the world. There was a lot of self-satisfaction. And it doesn't mean there wasn't some good that came out of it. There was. But if I had had this correction to really be there for the benefit of other beings much more, I think it would have been happier and more effective work. And the second phrase that comes out of Buddhist learnings and teachings is that there are no enemies. And this was very, very helpful, because a lot of my work was as a legal aid lawyer, and so you're in a kind of a almost a combat situation against them who are oppressing your poor clients, and or people discriminated against. And being in that kind of a scene, and also recently listening to someone who was working really hard to help like some homeless youth, and seeing that there's already a feeling of a they who cut the funding for the homeless youth, and it's like a they, somebody out there who's wrong, who's thoughtless, who we don't like, and now here's us, the people helping. And so the minute we get into this us and they, the work is going to be a whole lot less effective. And if you really look at that, if you have the mindset of us and them, your strategies are going to be completely different, because first of all, you're going to have to contain them, you're going to have to get rid of them, you're going to have to oppose them, versus when you see from a Buddhist point of view, this is all just suffering beings, all trying to be happy, all, in some kind of delusion and doing our best, then your strategy would be much more in the vein of, well, let's go talk to them and find out, what happened and why the funding got cut, for example, and is there a way that we can work towards getting a bigger pie for everyone, rather than fighting over these crumbs and getting into this very opposed kind of state. So these two thoughts, I hope, are helpful as you go out in the world to help whatever kind of group, animals, environment, people that there are no enemies, it's all suffering beings facing difficult problems, and let's work together. And also that we make sure our self-satisfaction is a piece of it, but it's not the main thing. Okay, bodhicitta should be. Enjoy.